Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review by musician. Classic albums of the 70s and 80s, the best albums. And I'm also going to be doing some albums that I particularly liked growing up that I thought are worthy of being included in this list. One thing I wanted to mention is that I had this kind of struggle with how to deal with some of the albums in this period, especially greatest hits collections. Now, greatest hits collections are not albums per se, where you've got a bunch of songs that are original and then you're putting them together and creating a sort of a work of art. Collections, greatest hits albums are collections of songs that did the best, made the most money, so had the most sales, etc. And it's interesting, there were a lot of greatest hits albums in that period, particularly from artists who were in the 60s and even in the early 70s, came out with greatest hits albums, and greatest hits albums seemed to make a lot of money for the studio, for the record executives. So they did a lot of these, and it's interesting, when I began to get into music, really as a teenager, I kind of gravitated toward greatest hits albums because I knew I could get all the good songs in one record. And then I kind of let the original albums languish, and I didn't listen to them till much later. And so when I go back and listen to the original albums, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of good material here I didn't get on the greatest hits albums. And so that I realized that greatest hits albums, while they're cool at making money and they do present the best work of the artist, they really aren't, they really leave you in the cold with a lot of material that you may never have heard, that some deep dives that really, there's some good stuff there. It just didn't quite make the cut. It didn't quite have the reception. Perhaps in this country it did, in this country it didn't. So I was really torn about doing greatest hits albums on this review. But I'm going to do a few of them because these are albums that I felt had a large impact for the band, for the group, and on me particularly. But I can't approach it like a regular album because it's not what they are. And there's a few artists in the 70s who had greatest hits albums, and so I feel like I kind of have to go through them, but I'm going to keep it to a minimum. Another is soundtracks. In the 70s, there were a few soundtrack albums that sold millions, millions and millions. And I don't really like soundtrack albums because they're scores for a movie. I didn't know what to do about it, and yet they are on the top 20 albums of the 1970s. So I feel like I have to at least bring them up because they had an impact on the decade, and you just can't blow them off. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do soundtrack albums, which really would leave you in the cold with a couple of particularly very popular soundtracks. One was from the Bee Gees in Saturday Night Fever, which was a massively successful movie, and the other was from Grease, another massively successful movie. And then there's a movie called Xanadu, which was massively unsuccessful, but had a terrific soundtrack. And so I'm not sure what to do with these. I'm still mulling it over. If any of you want me to hear it and go through them, leave a suggestion. Tell me that's what you want me to do, because I'm still up in the air about both the greatest hits, number of greatest hits albums I want to cover, and soundtrack albums. All right. We are doing the greatest, most successful albums of the 70s and 80s. And right now we're starting this whole channel off with the album Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. And we have covered more than half the record. We flipped the record over, put the needle on the record, and we're now on the second half of the record. And so far, there are a ton of great hits. This album has 5 massive hits, 4 number 10 hits. As I said, this is the most successful album they ever made, one of the most successful albums ever. And so there's so much good material here. There's just no clunkers. There's no bad songs. They're all good. Well, as I also said, this album's interesting because while a lot of angst was going on between the band members, a lot of shenanigans and a lot of heartbreak, etc., they wrote really great songs here. They really had wrote upbeat music to a lot of the negative situations they were writing about, except for The Chain, which was completely different than the rest. It was a very dour, foreboding, ominous song to match the lyrics. But Now we're going back to the happy, bouncy, enjoyable, fun songs that the record began with. And the next two songs are You Make Loving Fun and I Don't Want to Know. Now, You Make Loving Fun is, there are three major singers in this band. There is Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks, and Christy McVie. Now, we've heard Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham really well, but we have heard Christy McVie on singing, splitting back and forth with Lindsey on, I believe it was Never Going Back Again. But now she gets it all to herself. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If I have to weigh Stevie Nicks versus Christy McVie, I'm going to go with Christy McVie. I love her voice. It's sweet. It's pure. It's got everything I like in a female voice. I like Stevie Nicks. Don't get me wrong. She's got a great voice, but the whole thing kind of tips in favor of Christy McVie for me. So I'm a little partial to her voice. This song is a great song. It's a romantic song. It's a fun song, and there's nothing bad about it. This is a terrific song. One of the ones that made top 10 on the radio. So let's go ahead and listen now to You Make Loving Fun. I'm sure you've heard this song. If you haven't, if you're from a different generation, if you've been at the store or anywhere, you've heard this song on the radio, I guarantee it. So here we go with You Make Loving Fun. Okay, I'm pausing it right there. I've got to say that I really, really dig Christy McVie's voice. I said this before. I said this. I'm partial to her. She's an incredibly romantic voice, a really great voice. I just love her range, her tonality. It's just a sweet voice. It's a wonderful voice, and it's a very romantic song. And I love the background vocals by, I believe, Stevie Nicks and probably Lindsey Buckingham. But I'm glad they gave this song to her because this is a perfect song for her. She's playing the keyboards and doing the singing. So this song is really heavily Christy. And so I just love it. Just want to let you know I just always love this song. I know a lot of you did too because it got top 10. So here we go. Some great guitar by Lindsey Buckingham. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to talk about Mick Fleetwood's drumming here. Listen to that. He's playing this off, once again, an off-center beat on this thing. He's coming in, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, which is really not intuitive when you play drums. But he's coming in and working up to the end of the measure, to the end of the bar. It's just an interesting drum part. As a drummer, it's very clever. And as I said, Mick Fleetwood is a clever drummer. He knows how to put tasteful licks in songs that enhance the music. It's not about Look how flashy I am. Look what a great fast drummer I am. Look how hard I play. It's about tastefulness and musicality. And Mick Fleetwood is really good at that. And he's demonstrating that once again in this song. That's a great lick he did there to transition into this bridge part. Would be different and you know it will. You make loving fun. And I don't have to tell you that you're the only one. Okay, what can I say? Terrific, terrific song. Totally radio friendly. This is a kind of song that becomes a major hit, and it's exactly what it was. Once again, this album has so many great songs on it, so many well-written songs. I mean, their ability for lyric writing, music writing, vocalization, clever little fills and riffs and licks. Fleetwood Mac just has it all together. They've got everything they need, every weapon, every in their arsenal to make music. They're not missing anything. Everything is there that they need, and they can take a simple subject like "You Make Lovin' Fun" into an incredibly fun song. It's not only is it fun lyric, it's fun music, and you can just drive along and listen to it, and it takes you away and just makes you feel good. And most of the songs in this album are feel-good songs, even though they're talking about a lot of things most of the time which aren't so good. Now, in this case, obviously, this is a very positive, upbeat song with good lyrics, a woman telling her lover, her boyfriend, her husband that, you make loving fun. You make it fun for me to love you. And there's nothing negative, but this song really is a very positive song in every aspect. And again, Christy McVie's vocals is just superb. It's perfect for the song. You can't ask for anything better. Great background lyrics. Lindsay's awesome little guitar fills here and there that just, you remember. When you go to a concert, you want to hear those fills exactly the way you heard them because they're just perfect for the song. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next one. Next one didn't make a big hit. It wasn't one of the top 10. But it's a great song, nevertheless. And it kind of goes back to the first three songs, it harks back to Secondhand News and Never Going Back Again in its styling, okay? It's bouncy, it's minimalistic, sticks really closely with acoustic guitar, and I think there's a mandolin on this one. And it's very upbeat and bouncy, and it's got Lindsay and Stevie doing sharing vocals. And so they're harmonizing. So we're going back to that method, that formula again from the beginning of the album, and it fits right in. And once again, this is a very happy, enjoyable, fun song, and it's an album. This is a whole album you could just play and play. There's nothing that ever say, okay, I got to skip this song, or I'm not in the mood for this. You're always in the mood for this stuff. It's always happy. It's always joyful. And not always in the mood necessarily. You could be in a bad mood, but if you want to get in a good mood, this is the stuff to listen to. So we're going to listen to I Don't Want to Know, and I think you're going to like this one a lot. Here we go. now the drums come in.
I don't wanna know the reasons why I love you. Right on walking on down the line. I don't wanna stand singing in love, honey. I just want you to feel fine. I don't wanna know the reasons why I love you. Right on walking on down the line. I don't wanna stand singing in love, honey. I just want you to feel fine. Finally, baby, truth has come down now. Take a listen to your spirit. It's crying out loud, trying to believe. Oh, you say you love me, but you don't know. You got me rocking and reeling.
Building up. False build up. Now the real one.
Know the reasons why I love you.
Okay. Got to pause it here. What if you caught that? But they're in this bridge, verse, whatever it is, or chorus, and they're trying to end it and transition back to the main verse. And so they lead you on a false, and then they start over again. They oh no no, and they come oh no. So it's a tease. It teases you into that going back to the main verse, and that's such a very clever tool they did. I really love it. It's so clever musically, and I just can't. I just gush about this stuff because that was so clever, and you're gonna hear this throughout the song. It's just really cool. I love it. Let's continue.
I'm walking on down the line. I don't wanna stand to you in love, honey. I just want you to feel fine. I don't wanna know the reasons why I love you. I'm walking on down the line. I don't wanna stand to you in love, honey. I just want you to feel fine. Finally, baby, truth has been told. Now you tell me that I'm crazy. It's nothing that I didn't know. Trying to survive. So you say you love me, but you
Build
don't
up.
know.
Listen.
You got me rocking and reeling, hanging on to you. Oh, yeah.
That's it.
I don't wanna know the reasons why I love you. Right on walking on down the line. I don't wanna stand to you in love, honey. Take a little time.
Wow, that was just terrific. That was a terrific song. Both these songs are just gold, totally gold. I don't know why this song didn't make top 10. I mean, it has everything it needs to do so. Really, almost every song on this album should have gone top 10. But I'm sure some of them came close. If I looked it up, I'm sure I'd find it. Maybe it came in like 11 or 12 or 13 or, for 15. It came pretty high. Because I can't believe any of these, that some of these songs like this one didn't get very popular, and I think it's definitely a great radio tune. And as I said, I love that part where they build this false tease to end that verse, that bridge, and then they back up, and then they do it a second time, and they get it done. Very clever, very very clever songwriting. Love the mandolin sound, the acoustic guitar, and then the Lindsey comes in with that. He's just building up that slowly. You know it's coming to the end. Just really, really good. And Mick Fleetwood's drumming, it's very simple. It's not complicated, but it serves the song. And you got that 4 on the floor at the bass, and then boom on that tom that just accentuates that beat. He's really good at adding these little things that just help the song, and works with the lyrics, works with the guitar and the bass. Everything just works so well. Whenever they write something, it's just terrific, and this is just another example. Okay, we're going to do one last song. I was going to do two, but I'm going to do three because I want to get through this album. And this one's called Oh Daddy. Now, this one is different, and we're going to hear it. And then we got two more after this, and then we're finished with Rumors. So let's listen to the last song called Oh Daddy. Let's see what surprises this one holds for us.
Oh, Daddy, you know you make me cry. How can you love me? I don't understand why. Oh, Daddy, if I can make you see, if there's been a fool around, it's got to be me. Yes, it's got to be me. Oh, Daddy, you soothe me with your smile. You're letting me know you're the best thing in my life. Oh, Daddy, if I can make you see, if there's been a fool around, it's got to be me. Yes, it's got to be me. Can't walk away from you, baby, if I try.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right here. I got to talk about this one. I haven't listened to this ahead of time. This is one I haven't heard in a long time, and I forgot exactly how it went. But this is clearly not in the same vein as the past songs. This is much of a more mellow song. And the lyrics are very interesting. I don't even know how to really describe it exactly, but this person is talking about Daddy, how Daddy's always right and she's wrong, and he's strong and she's weak. And then you think she's talking about her father. Maybe she is. Maybe she's talking about two different people, her father and her boyfriend, lover, husband. Then she says babe or baby. You don't call your dad baby. So it's an interesting song lyrics, and I have to really study these lyrics to tell you the meaning of this song. But it's got a mood. And of all the songs on the album, I think this one is my least favorite for just reasons. I mean, I'm not big on super mellow songs. But one thing about this song, I have to say, is the instrumentation is very good. And we're getting into this little bridge area with some really interesting guitar playing. Of course, Christy McVie's doing the singing, and she's playing the keyboards. And Lindsay's playing guitar over it and layering different guitar sounds, I think, over it. And there's this little guitar bridge here. Is very clever, very well done. But this one kind of segues into the end of the album, so it drops you down. Once again, you got that Keep Lovin' Fun, kind of happy song, and then the last one was real bouncy and upbeat, and now you drop down again. They did, they drop down, turn it down a bunch of notches to kind of go work their way back up to the end of the album. That's what I see happening here. Well, let's continue on with this song. Okay, that's oh Daddy. I've said all I can really say about what I think the song is about. It sounds like a person who is saying, "Look, you've got the answers. You're the strong one in this relationship. You've been right. I've been wrong. I can't live without you, and I want you to know that." And it's very simple. And the melody is not simple. It's maybe it's basically simple, but they made it complex with a lot of instrumentation, and of course Lindsay's guitar picking in there, doing a lot of picking and stringing, which is cool. It's a different texture. It isn't that smooth that you get from the keyboards of the last Christy McVie song. It isn't as straightforward. It's kind of complex in its instrumentation, which it needs because it's kind of a slow subject and mellow. So they keep it interesting by this interesting instrumentation going on. And you've got her playing this sort of organ keyboard in the background, which kind of picks up at the end. But you got Lindsay's picking, and then it ends on his strings. Ba-dum, 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 and it fades out. Not my favorite song on the album, I'll be honest with you, but it's still a good song. Not a clunker. It's just a mellow song, and it fits where it's in a good place in the album because the album now goes to different places to finish up. And it's just part of the whole tapestry and texture of this creation they called Rumors. Well, that's all I have for this video. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're getting something out of it. If you have any comments, please comment. If you have any albums you want me to do next that are top albums of the 70s that you really think I should do, please give me your suggestions. And also any comments, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you like what I'm doing. Please subscribe. I know that people tend to not subscribe. They watch and move on. But for this channel to really get viewers, it needs subscriptions and it needs sharing. So please share this with your friends. If you like what I'm doing, if you think I'm doing a good job, if you enjoy my take on all this, please do that. Like I said, what I'm doing here is not so much reacting as someone who has never heard things, although this song I haven't heard in a long time, but someone who lived through this period, knows this music, and is responding to it as someone who knows it, for those that really enjoy it and want someone who's a kindred spirit and enjoys this music, and young people who are new generations younger than me who have never heard it, and they're looking for ways into classical rock of the 70s and 80s that they can access it and learn to like it. And that's what I'm doing. So I highly recommend get this album on a record. You know what a record is, right? With a record player, put the needle on there and listen to it the way it was recorded, the way it was originally meant to be heard. And it just adds to it so much. It may be kind of a novelty now to do it, but believe me, our generation, that's how we listen to everything unless we were in the car and we had 8-track tapes or cassette tapes. But believe me, those methods were terrible. Record was far superior to that. And so if you can do that, do it. Well, anyway, thank you very much for joining on Rock My Bean. And as we go through the Rumors album of Fleetwood Mac from 1977, and we're going to finish up the album in our next show, please join me then. Thank you, and see you soon.